Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, it's a pretty cloudy, kind of gloomy morning here in the Ozarks. No sun is being shown, and there is a chance again of rain. We've been having that pretty much every day, but we're about ready to kind of shift gears here weather-wise and get very hot. The next about 10-day forecast is looking pretty warm. So if you're in the area, you should probably kind of get yourself prepared because it's going to be hot and very muggy for the next several days. So anyway, so my goodness, there's so much stuff going on. Well, when I say that I think some of this stuff is a distraction, it doesn't mean that it's not real. It is real. And I'm sure there's stuff going on in the background because of it. There's meaningful stuff. It's exposing stuff, all kinds of things, but it still can be a distraction. So it kind of gets you caught up if you haven't been paying attention in the last 24 hours. More Epstein stuff is in the news. The Wall Street Journal published an article claiming that they have possession of a leather-bound book from the early 2000s that was put together by a bunch of friends of Jeffrey Epstein and given to him as a birthday present. And in that book is a letter written by Donald Trump, some inappropriate things, some suspicious things. I mean, he doesn't come out and say, hey, yo, Jeff, you and I did all this bad stuff. But it's suspicious, okay? And of course, President Trump has come out and just vehemently, denied that he did that. He said that he never draws drawings. That's not his work, even though he's drawn a lot of drawings and he does, that kind of stuff, doodles and stuff. They've been auctioned off. They're auctioned for charity. He used to do it. I don't know if he still does it, but there's articles in the past where he used to do every year, doodle a little picture and they would auction it for charity. So yes, he does do doodling drawings. Here's the thing. I don't know what to think about this. I don't know. I know that Trump has reacted very aggressively, claims he's going to start suing the Wall Street Journal. On the other hand, the Wall Street Journal, as much as it's become less of a strong conservative news piece, it is still considered one of the most reputable news sources in the entire planet. And it would be very unusual for them to publish this or this article without having something to kind of back it up, because they know that it could cause lawsuits if it was completely fake. You would think that they would do their very best to verify the authenticity of this. So I don't know. This is going to be crazy. It's also in the news that today, the Justice Department, Pam Bondi, under the direction of Donald Trump, is going to a federal judge to seek the release of the Epstein grand jury transcripts. Now, everyone is saying, see, we got it. These aren't the Epstein files. These are grand jury transcripts. And here's the thing. Those are considered sealed documents. And there is still ongoing litigation because Ghislaine Maxwell is in an appeals process because of her case. So it would be extremely, extremely unprecedented for a judge to order the release of these sealed documents because of an ongoing litigation. And grand jury transcripts are always considered sealed. They're secret. So it would be very strange. And if the judge does, it's very likely that it would be heavily redacted. And no one has ever said that the grand jury transcripts were filled with all the details of the Epstein client list. So I don't know that you're going to get much if that happens. Maybe. I don't think that would be the smoking gun, and that's certainly not what people have been demanding to be released. It's almost like it's this switch and bait, throw everyone a bone. Oh, see, we did this. So we will see what happens. Also, Israel has continually been attacking Syria to the point that the new Syrian president has fled the country, or at least that's what the news is reporting, and possibly the fall of his new government in just a matter of a few days. I mean, this is what happened the last time, a year ago, when we unseated Assad and replaced him with a former Al-Qaeda terrorist that is probably now a CIA operative in there, put a suit on him, made him look good, and had a new government in Syria. And now Israel has very possibly caused a regime change once again. They're saying that they are going to take part of Syria, the part down there that's close to Israel, that borders Israel. They're going to take that over and going to occupy it. That, I'm sure, is not going to set well with most other Muslim countries. So there is more stuff going on there in the Middle East, and the news really isn't reporting much. There's very, very little being reported because everything, again, is focused on this Epstein thing. And while I think that there's certainly some importance to what's going on with the Epstein thing and possibly exposing some truths, and I'm not going to go into a lot of my personal details about Donald Trump and Epstein, but there's a lot there. If you did your own research, there's a ton there. I think that it's also distracting, or at least it's diverting everyone's attention away from other stuff. One being the Middle East. The other thing is think of other big things that's been going on, like Palantir. No one's been talking about them, and they've been expanding. Their stocks have tripled since the first of the year. Stock value, the company value. We know that they're working on building their big AI Skynet infrastructure system, but not a lot has been reported on them recently of the specifics of what they're doing. So there's something that's being distracted. And the other thing, think of what's going on here in the United States, and if you were Russia and China, how would you be reacting to this? Oh, this would be great. They're so tied up now dealing with all this big scandal that they're not paying attention to the fact that we are rapidly building our military and getting it ready for war, because that's exactly what China's doing. There was a unconfirmed report. A news journalist reported that he had spoken with someone within the Pentagon. I know we hear, I mean, this is not new kind of, growing up, it was the same way, journalists, an undisclosed source, right? But this undisclosed source says that the United States right now has about 8 days of defensive missiles, defensive weapons. We have about 8 days worth. If there's any close truth to that, and we heard, 6 months, maybe a year ago, that the United States had maybe 30 days. And we've not stopped any shipments, really. We've delayed a few, but nothing's been stopped being sent to Ukraine and Israel. And we know we sent a lot to Israel during their whole little tuffle with Iran. So I think it's very possible that we're down to that low. So you have to be, a war tactician, a good one, is trying to put himself in the mindset of the enemy. So you put yourself in the mindset of China, and they see us tied up in Ukraine more now probably than ever. These new plan to sell anything and everything possible to NATO to give to Ukraine. I mean, that's what Trump said the other day. We're sending them everything, anything, and the whole thing. We're sending it all. And then us getting tied up more and more with Israel in the Middle East. At some point, China's going to say, man, the Trump administration is tied up in this drama and scandal. They're depleting their weapons. We need to move now. So I'm not saying or predicting that something could happen soon. All I'm saying is that from my perspective, and not having the level of intelligence that even the Chinese government would have, I would think it's got to be a really good time or close to it to make their move, on Taiwan. I don't know. I mean, we will see. And maybe they're waiting for something else that we have no idea what that is. But it's looking pretty good, I would think, to make a move. All of this, I think, is in the end a big orchestrated mess. I believe that Trump was chosen, and I believe that what is happening right now is purposeful. It's to disrupt things. It's to tear America apart even more. And I understand that you and I, we consider ourselves, we're Americans, we're patriots, we have a loyalty and allegiance to that patriotism. But in the end, our loyalty and allegiance is to God. I mean, that's where it is. And we have to remember that to not allow ourselves to get so caught up in the drama and all that it maybe weakens us. Recognize that China is a real threat. China could move and make things really bad. The dollar is not as stable as they want us to think it is. Prices are going up. I saw that just this past month, a hamburger alone has gone up 12%. That's a significant increase. Prices are still going up. Things are not great. And don't, allow this delusion that, things are getting a lot better and the economy's getting better and things are moving. U.S. government's bringing in tens of billions of dollars in taxes now, and everything's going to be great. We have to realize that the moral decay, the godless decay, the turning this nation's turning its back on God we're getting what we paid forward, right? The wages of sin, that scripture. And is it now or is it soon in the future? I don't know, but it's coming, and we need to be prepared for that and understand that America may not completely collapse to its knees, but its days of glory, I think, are pretty much over. And we have to prepare for, the coming time where we live in a nation that is kind of torn apart and fallen apart and doesn't have it all together. I mean, that's been happening now for a while, and I think it's just going to get worse. And so that's really where you need to be, I think, preparing yourself for, preparing your family, your community. And just like I say, every single video, it's a holistic, approach, mentally, physically, and spiritually, all of it. You need to do that so that you can ready yourself for what's coming, because it's happening. Maybe it's incremental, but the pace has picked up, okay? That incremental pace has picked up, and it's picking up more and more. And we're getting closer to that point that, some bad things could really, really, a lot worse things could start happening. And you need to be ready for that. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Get your houses in order, folks. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.